Why would you not try and help yourself by working towards controlling your thoughts? We have this ideology that the mind is just what it is and we can't really control it. We can't really train it. Like we're out here training biceps, and running speeds and flexibility, mobility, whatever it may be. You can train your mind. I'm not so sure you can train your brain. I'd like to say that rhymes and all that. But I think the mind and the brain are two different things. So I think you can train your mind 100%. I've done this before, thanks to a friend of mine in Thailand who had us put us through a lot of this kind of stuff. Super mega grateful to him for that. That is something I would not have explored on my own as much as I did. I was introduced to when I used to work in an amazing sports training hotel complex in Thailand, in the middle of absolutely nowhere in the bush, where meditation, mindfulness, all that awesome hippy dippy stuff, along with physicality and beautiful human beings. I would have stayed a bit more on the physical because that's where I most of the time have always excelled. But this guy, my buddy, was really into searching and finding out more, and he got into that side of things a little bit more and really pushed us to do it. Like he wanted me to come along with him, had somebody to do it with, and I guess at the same time knowing him now, he probably saw that I needed it and was doing me a favor because that's just kind of how he is. So I'm super grateful to him for that. That was amazing. But anyway, my point is you can definitely train the mind, right? And training the mind to not have the reaction of the thoughts. You can almost essentially zoom out from the micro management of your own thoughts and look more of a macro management. Is this thought important? Will this thought get me anything positive? Many thoughts will go through your head. I don't know what the number is, but it's in the, I believe, if not like 50, 60,000 thoughts a day or something. It's 100,000 or 600,000. I don't remember the number, but it's way too many to count. And there's the average person just thinking. Imagine everybody else out there who overthinks. So controlling your reaction to those thoughts is something you can train. And why we don't put any practice into that, I don't understand. Some people call meditation, some people call it prayer, some people call it spirituality. They're connecting with whatever they believe in, and that usually gives them a little bit of calm. And when you're calm and you're quiet, you can put a bit more focus into the thoughts versus being distracted by the thoughts because you're thinking about other things. Take some time. 10, start with 5, move up to 10, go to 15, make it 30, whatever. Take some time in your day, usually in the morning or in the evenings, when things are a little bit smoother, generally speaking, and see if you can just focus on your thoughts. Let them pass through. Don't pay too much attention to each one. Don't literally pay the thought by giving it attention, but be aware of that thought. Let it pass through. The second you are aware of a thought, oh, all right, that's what that is. Cool. Accept it as just a thought, not reality. Let it go. The next one will come in and take its place. And it just keeps repeating itself over and over. And you want that. Even though it may seem repetitive, the action of letting it go is the thing that we're practicing. That's the training part of the mind. The art of letting go. Okay? When it comes to focusing on that thought specifically, if there's a thought that keeps reoccurring, or a thought that you just can't let go, write it down. I don't mind. Some people say don't break your meditation. Hey, if it's going to obstruct meditation, break your meditation, write it down, and come back to your meditative space. I'm going to use the word meditation here, but I don't mean meditation. I mean just a silent section or part of the day that is just for you to practice and train your mind, which is going to allow you to have a better day, better week, better month, better year, to be a better human to everyone, produce more for society, and obviously being a better family member to children, spouses, parents, everything. Having the ability to let something go as it's just a thought will open up so much more for you. Coming right back around to the story, to my client, my friend, having taught her the basics of meditation, and you'll see why I bring up this story in a sec. Having taught her the very most basics of meditation, I believe it would be almost about 10 years ago now, possibly a little bit more, maybe 11-ish. I saw a post on their Facebook story yesterday and was completely blown away. The speech was written underneath, the picture that shows where she is and what she's up to was absolutely mind-blowing. And she said in her little speech, the introduction to meditation is what created all of this. Two parts of that. The meditation is the tool you used. You did the work. It's not meditation's fault. And the introduction was not something that I provided. It was just time for you to learn it. Because when people get introduced to things over and over every day, we don't grasp everything. We have to be willing to receive. We have to be open-minded to it. We have to be able to see it in order for us to be able to take that as advice. Otherwise, it's just another random person saying some other random bullshit or whatever. Right? So, it's all you. I won't say your name, but it's all you. Had nothing to do with the introduction of meditation or myself. I appreciate the praise, but I want to share this story because if it can happen to her, trust me, if it can happen to her, it can happen to anyone. Okay? And I absolutely 100% still stand by that. Meditation, again, inverted commas here, in meditation is time to yourself, is training your mind, and your mind can be trained. It will falter at times. It is not perfect ever. Just like my bicep curls, they are sometimes bigger than others, stronger than other times, and sometimes I just don't train for years. It's just the way it is. Train your mind. Allow yourself to be okay with thoughts that are just passing through. Perfect the art of letting the thoughts go. If you can't physically let them go yourself in your own mind, then physically write them down. There's a part of the mind that will allow that part of that thought or that connection to that thought to dissipate as you've written it down, because it knows, okay, if I need to come back to that thought, it is written down. It's there. It's over here. When you don't write it down, your mind will still try and keep repeating that thought because for some reason you've put some sort of level of importance on that thought. And that makes your mind think, well, we got to do this, we got to do this, we got to do this. This one's important. We really got to do this one. Okay. I need to let that go. If I can't physically let it go, my unconscious thinking, then I'll write it down. At least my mind now knows where it is. So that's a bit more what I mean about meditation or mind training. I used to do a lot of mind training exercises with a monk in Thailand. And some of the practices and tools he used were obviously a little bit more intricate and very specifically Buddhist-based monk training. But the overall bigger picture, if you zoomed out, was essentially the same thing I'm talking about here now. The art of letting go, the ability to see things not as huge as they are. You're only ever going to get problems from any thought if you give them attention and power. Don't let them have that attention and power, and they cannot become anything. So, congratulations to Brand for still keeping this practice and having elevated her life to a completely different level right now, just by implementing small little things like this. And more than likely, she can teach this now because she's been through it. So I believe anybody that's been through something should be able to teach it to people who haven't. Regardless of whether you're a qualified, high-level professional coach, whatever. If you've been through something, there's someone else out there that doesn't know how to get through that. So get either on camera or online somehow, reach out, tell people your story, and see what comes back. It is essentially why I'm doing what I'm doing here. And if I help out just one person, then I'm doing my job. I appreciate your time. I apologize for taking maybe too much of it, explaining and talking. This is how I speak. I'm working on that, trying to talk a little better, clearer, and a bit more straight to the point. But this is a work in progress. I will see you guys on the floor, where today we'll be doing just a couple of basic stuff. I have a little bit of a tweaked low back, but I can tell it's a muscular thing, not a bone thing. And I believe it came from me falling asleep on the couch in a really awkward position after drinking magnesium and feeling the knockout at that point. So it's nothing too crazy. I trained the last 4 or 5 days in a row. Haven't done anything, didn't feel anything. So I don't think it's come from that. Just that awkward position, because if I go back into that sort of position I was when I fell asleep, that's where everything kind of feels a little tight and tweaky. So one of those things, but I'll just keep an eye on it, maintain it. So a couple of exercises, I'll probably go through a bit more technical training, technique-based training, I should say. Talk technically about the technique more than lifting anything crazy. It is Sunday, so I will be taking it a bit more of a lighter recovery day for today. And then, I'll see you guys out there. Probably start off on the floor to do basic push-up stuff, or dips maybe, actually. I'll go into dips. Yeah, start off with some dips. I'll see you guys in the dungeon section of the gym, where the dip section or the dip machine is. We'll do our first set of dips here. I'll talk you through a little bit of the technique a bit after the first set. I'll just warm up a little bit as well, and then I'm taking the narrower grip. Is this side and this side a little bit wider, this side a bit closer. You'll find that a lot of the machines, the modern day machines that have the dip station, the dip exercise machine, have the ability, I'm not sure if you guys know, but if you grab onto the bar on these machines and you lift it away, it rotates. So it kind of flips from here to here. And so that flip allows you to be a tiny bit wide, a couple of inches wider each side. And then the flip this way will allow it to be a little bit more narrow. I prefer narrow. Personally, it works best for my shoulders. Some people prefer wide. It's completely up to you. I would recommend starting narrow and see how that feels. You'll be a little stronger if your base and your arms are a little bit closer to your body than you would be if they were out wide, generally speaking. So get a little bit of dip strength. Dips is not something you do on a regular basis. Do a little bit more narrow first, then flip it over and see if you can handle and prefer maybe the wider dip after that. So yeah, I'm just going to pump a few out here. All right, so about 20, nice little warm up. Doesn't feel too bad, doesn't feel too crazy. I am getting a little bit of front delt, so front shoulder, not necessarily strain, but a little bit of a pull, like I am feeling a little bit of a pull there. This can be the fact that I didn't really do too much warm up prior, or that it's really cold. So I think it's minus 15 or something outside Celsius. So a bit cold. So either way, my shoulders are a little cold, whether it's physically because of the weather or a bit more body as far as not having warmed up the shoulders too much. I'm feeling a little bit of tightness there. But the reason I came out to do these is because I know I use these as warm-ups for my shoulders on a lot of training sessions anyway. So this is what I would do to warm up the shoulder before I started doing anything else. So I know this warms up the shoulder. That's my point. So yeah, the dips. Some people will use the assisted dip machine and then get used to it, and they're trying to chase reps. Don't chase reps with dips, okay? If you have a rep range that you're aiming for, that's great. Then you can self-assess after and see if that's maybe, I don't know, too high of a number, too low of a number at the end. Figure that out at the end. The more important part is that you're working them, the dips, to almost a point of failure, okay? If you're using the dip assisted machine, these are these things that have, there's one over there, there's one that you can put your feet or your knees on, and then you stack on some weight, and it takes a certain percentage of your weight off of your body, allowing you to do a bit more. Those are well and good if you're just getting started or if you have injuries, things to keep an eye on. But I recommend getting off of the assisted section of it as soon as possible. Same thing with the chin-ups. We'll be doing a little bit of the chin-up thing after this. The sooner you're better off doing 2 on your own, in my opinion, than you are doing any more than that with the assistance. The repetitions themselves will help at the beginning, yes. And I'm not talking about you're better off just straight cold from nothing. Use the assistance to get going. What I'm saying is once you have a bit of a rhythm and you've been training them for a fair few weeks or something on the assisted version, hopefully lowering the weight each time on the machine, therefore giving your body more of your own body weight to do the dip itself, try and get to that no assistance relatively soon. I was going to say as soon as possible, but that's probably not the right wording. Relatively soon. And then even if you're doing things like working on a 1 or 2 rep basis on your own, that's fine. Do that for 3 weeks, right? Then work your way up. There is like what they call an EMOM version of training that you could do. Let me explain EMOM after the second set, actually. Otherwise, because this one will go for a little while. It's EMOM explanation. So another round. I'm gonna go up about 20 again. Okay, so EMOM stands for every minute on the minute. What that means is if you have a timer playing in the background, like just a clock playing, clock running, whatever you want to say, however you want to say it, at the top of every minute. So every 0, 0. So 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 2, 0, 0, 3, 0, 0. Every 0, 0, add a rep or a number of reps, whatever. If you're doing a 4 EMOM, so 4 reps of something every minute on the minute, you're doing 4 reps at the 0, 0, and however long that takes you, the remaining time of that minute is your rest period. As soon as it hits 0, 0 again, you do those 4 reps again. If, for example, that takes you 11 seconds, then you got 49 seconds of rest. Then the next 0, 0, you've got another 4 reps. And if that takes you maybe 13 seconds, then you've got 47 seconds rest. If it takes you 30 seconds, you've got 30 seconds rest, right? The trick is to challenge your body to keep doing the repetitive 4 reps, as an example. So the reason I mention EMOMs is that things like dips, body weight, things that are kind of tough, dips, and what we're going to do next, chin-ups, can very, very easily be trained with EMOMs. There's a lot of guys out there teaching this kind of stuff at a way, way higher degree than I ever will, because that's their specialty. I'm not a specialist in that way. I'm more of a generalist across the board. So if you want to know a little bit more about EMOMs or anything like that, just Google it, YouTube it, search for it, and see if there's anybody that can offer maybe a little bit more advice, maybe some sort of training plan. Pay them, pay professionals. They've done all the work for you. If their cost is 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks, pay for it. You'd be surprised how many coaches, courses, and programs I buy, right? So many, because they're so useful. Some of these guys have done enough research that the 50 bucks I paid for his course or his program saves me 100 or 200 hours. And why not? If I trust the guy, I trust the source, do a bit of research on the guy first, make sure he's, of decent caliber and knows what he's talking about for the most part. I'll pay someone to have gone through all the programming. I'll pay for someone to have gone through all the research for me. That is not an issue at all. Now, obviously, being in the game long enough to understand if they're saying some stuff in there that, okay, that's irrelevant, okay, I don't believe in that, but there's always gems, there's always a bit of gold hidden in every single program and every single course I've ever bought or purchased. So I highly recommend doing that. I will be launching one soon. It is in the works. That wasn't a plug. I guess it was a plug, but that wasn't an intentional plug. But I highly recommend doing that, okay? So I would recommend, if you're doing chin-ups and dips, things that are heavy, squats even sometimes, doing and training an EMOM. Maybe doing something like, let's say for example, 5 dips on your own, right? EMOM. Every minute on a minute, do 5 rounds. So for 5 minutes, you're doing 5 dips, then at the next minute, 5 dips, next minute, 5 times, all right? Do that, and that's your dip workout for the day, for that session. Repeat that maybe a couple of times a week. If you're doing 2 or 3 sessions, I recommend 4 or 5 sessions a week, but pretty sure you wouldn't be doing dip every session, but every time you do dips, do that, an EMOM of 5. 3, 1, I don't give a shit, whatever, start. Then after 2 or 3 weeks, or the next week, if you're feeling strong, just add an extra 1. So go from 5 to 6, second week, 7 the next week, all right? Something like that. Or add reps, right? Add sets. So EMOM is like every minute on the minute. So you would do 5 EMOM. The next day, the next session, the next week, whenever, make it 8 EMOM. So you're doing 5 dips still, but you're doing 8 rounds of it, 8 minutes of it. All right? The next one maybe 12 minutes of 5 dips every minute on the minute. And then go back and add maybe go to 6 or maybe possibly 7 dips, and then we'll revert back to 5 dips. 5 EMOMs, 5 sessions, 5 rounds, 5 minutes, whichever way you want to see it. 5 at 5, 8 at 5, 10 at 5. Then go back and you go 7 dips at 5 minutes, 7 dips at 8 minutes, 7 dips at 12 minutes. Then you come back and maybe 10 dips at 5 minutes, 10 dips at 8 minutes, 10 dips at 10 minutes, things like that. Work your way through. There's no mathematical, amazing routine way that's going to make you and allow you to have more or be more or do more other than just putting the work in. So, speaking of putting the work in, let's put some work in. So yeah, that's one way of doing it, the EMOM. I'm a big fan of EMOM, so give those a shot, try those out. And as I mentioned, those are really good for anything that's your own body weight, anything that's kind of rough and tough. If you're really a beginner and you're really trying to get back into it, then using the assisted machine for dips and for pull-ups or chin-ups. And yes, there's a difference between pull-up and a chin-up. Then yeah, use those as assisted machines, and to get to that level where you can start to do 1, possibly 2 on your own. Chin-ups or pull-ups may take a little longer for you to be able to get your own, but graduate from the dip machine with the assistant to a bar and then use a band. I'll show you that real quick when we get over to the chin-up machine after this. But yeah, EMOMs. So essentially what I'm doing here is an EMOM, except it's not on every minute. So It's every 2 minutes or 3 minutes, whatever it is. But it's essentially what I'm doing here. I'm doing a set of 20, same time, same rep range. I'm doing a set of 20 every set, right? The only difference is I'm timing my set so that at the start of each minute, that's when I start. Some people would do 12 reps with a 45-second or 60-second rest. That's essentially the same thing. It's just not counted on a minute. So that's why it's not called an EMOM. So this is the same type of thing. It's just, all it is just forcing you to have a little bit of a slower rest period as you get stronger and as you get more tired physically. You have to expand on the mentality of it and sticking to the routine of, oh, I'm just going to take an extra 5 seconds. Oh, I'm just going to take an extra 10 seconds. Oh, I'm a little bit tight. I'm not sure I should go yet. Just give me another round. Let me take a drink. Let me talk to this guy or whatever. Then that ends up dragging out. Every minute on a minute. You can set up timers. There's a lot of timers out there. Free timer apps on your phone. And you can set that up as countdowns. So like a 1 minute countdown. And you set it up to repeat itself 5 times, 10 times, whatever. And so you'll hear a little beep. Usually there's a 5 or a 3 second countdown. Beep, 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 beep. And at that point is when you're supposed to start. So you don't even need to look at the clock. You'll just be able to hear it if you've got your headphones in, or you can see it with your phone over a distance there. It'll just beep you down. It'll give you a countdown beep. Off you go. Pull out your 4, your 3, your 12, whatever it may be. And you'll see the time remaining until you catch your breath. Deep breaths in the nose, out the mouth will help a lot. Don't mouth breathe. That'll give you more issues than you think. So in the nose, deep, and out the mouth, fast. And get your heart rate back down. And then just position yourself to be able to start exactly on that minute, every minute, as I said before. So there's a quick introduction to EMOMs. Not something I planned on doing, but a great little tool for you to be able to use to get yourself into doing that body weight training, even though it may be tough. Right? We're here to get stronger and we are weak. So we just freaking do it, right? Okay, so as I'm warming up and getting my arms to warm up a little bit more, I'm going down a little deeper, and the range of motion of my shoulder is going down and stretching a little bit further each time I do those sets. There was a small switch there at around the 6 or 7 mark on that last set. And I went a little bit deeper, a little bit further down, just to test and make sure I can go a little bit deeper again than I just did on this set, which I will on the next set. But I'm not starting my sets with the full range all the way down. Personally, that's just not what I do. That's not how I do it, okay? I need to warm up a little bit. My joints are a little bit more overused. They are definitely more injured than the average. So I have to take care of that. It's almost like training with a little bit of safety wheels on a little bit at first. Then I can flick those safety wheels off and just go straight raw. So essentially, it's taken a couple of sets to sort of really get comfortable enough to go down and deeper into that range. As I mentioned earlier, probably just a little colder than average, a little colder than normal today, but I'll do one more set and I'll try and go a little deeper on every single one of the reps on this one. Maybe not the first 1 or 2, but I'll try and go down a little deeper for the overwhelming majority of the set and really push that depth and that stretch. You get that full range as far as, well, my body's capable of full range. And then that'll be the 5th set of 20, so it'll be 100, okay? Plenty enough to warm up with. And I don't mean to sound, like I use 100 to warm up. It just happens to be 5 sets, about 20. Just happens to be. I might do, if I was training dips, add a little bit of weight, which you saw me take at the beginning there. There's a belt you can wear around your waist that has a chain, and you can strap one of the weight plates to that. It just allows a little bit more weight. The only thing I found is doing weighted dips on here is that the plate hits the stand that my feet is on here, because it's a little too high. So I don't like that hitting every time, because then the plate starts to swing a little bit. So I could potentially lift that a little higher, but then it starts to affect other stuff. But anyway, there are a couple other little places where I can do heavier dips. So I'll just use that instead. I just prefer myself, my own preference here, not to do the dips where the plate hits the stick every time. I just get annoyed by it. But yeah, let's go one more round, a little deeper on these, as I mentioned earlier, and then we'll walk our way over to the chin-up bar, which is free. So get that out of the way. Sorry, we'll get this out of the way. Nice and easy. See you guys. Right, trying something a little different with the camera angle, so hopefully this works. You guys can see me clean and clear. I'm looking at myself. I don't know why I'm doing that. I should be looking at you. So this is the first part. Right, so this one's going to be chin-ups. I want to show you the difference between a chin-up and a pull-up. It's not much except for a grip, really, but they do work slightly different parts of the muscles in the body. So there is a bit of a time where a chin-up is much better for you. There are times where a pull-up is probably much better for you. Now, I'm not going to do a whole bunch of them and use it as a workout. I will show you some of the bits and pieces you can do in order to get better at them, and obviously talk you through those bits and pieces too. This one will be a bit more of an informative session than anything. Because I just did dips to warm up a little bit more of that shoulder, I do have a slightly more rounded shoulder and upper back than I would like to have at this point in time. I'm going to be working on a few bits and pieces that are going to correct that. And once I've got that done, because I believe in doing it first, I will make a video and show you what I did to do that. Okay, so keep, I guess, an eye on my progress there. If you can start to see that in my posture, that's great, because I am doing the work. I have just started doing it and implementing it into my daily routine in the mornings. And something you can do basically straight from the floor. There are a couple of extra bits and pieces you could do out in a gym. Maybe like a level 2 or level 3 version of some of those exercises, but they're not needed for now. What I will do though, before I start this, is the one stretch I do like to do, and that is a bit more of a twofold pec stretch. A lot of people will tell you that open hand, this is called a supinated grip, and this is called a pronated grip. You can think of it in any way or form in which you like. Some people can just remember that. I cannot for some reason. So what I have is I have associated it to something that makes it more easy for me to remember, and that is, this is supinated because it's like drinking a bowl of soup. Okay, so that's just my version of remembering it. So if that helps, thanks to Adrian, who taught me that many moons ago. The supinated grip, arms out. I want my palms just slightly above my shoulder, and I'm talking about the joint. Right? The shoulder joint and the wrist joint are the ones I'm talking about, not the musculature or to the hand, for example. So I want the joint of the palm to be higher than the joint of the shoulder, and I'm basically going in and walking forward. As I'm doing this, I'm stepping forward, but not pulling my arms back. I'm letting the push of my chest coming forward allow the stretch to happen at the chest. Even for me, if I stay supinated, my biceps will start to sort of stretch a little bit too, which is a good thing. Your fingers will go sort of pins and needle-ish. That's just standard. That happens. Let it be. It's cool. And you're gonna fall off. It's uncomfortable, but hey, toughen up, princess. You'll be fine. The overall stretch is what we're looking for. So regardless of if my fingers did fall off, then hey, whatever, I'll just put them back on, right? Both of those things are untrue, so they might as well just match. And I'm looking to stretch out a couple of minutes. I'm not going to let you sit through watching me stretch for a couple of minutes. That would be boring as hell. So what I'll do is I'll just show you that, okay? And then I'll show you a couple of other exercises. Then I'll switch out the battery because it's flashing and telling me that it needs to be changed soon anyway. And then I'll do those things and then come back. So quick examples of these stretches. The other version is I can't do it in this frame because this frame is wider than me. So I'll be doing it individually, but you can do it if you find the perfect fit. Ooh, I just thought maybe this way, but actually that's too small. So unfortunately, I'm sort of stuck in between the width of this and the width of this. Somewhere in the middle will be perfect, but you're looking to try and get your elbows onto the frame with your hand flat on. This can work in doorways. And then I'll be doing mine individually, but you can do it together at the same time is what I'm trying to get to originally. You want to make sure that you're staying at a 90-degree angle. So the shoulder joint and the elbow joint, you want them to be sitting relatively straight. An inch or two is not going to matter too much. Maybe 2 inches might, but what I'm saying, maybe a centimeter or two won't hurt. I'm going to use the fact that there's a hole this here to stabilize and hold instead of trying to grip on. So that way I know my arm won't slide at all. And all I'm doing is basically staying square to the wall and square 90 degrees with my elbows. So I've got a 90-degree angle here and I'm square 90 degrees to the wall. And then from there, I'm just going to bow. So I'm not leaning forward like I did previously with the supinated part. This one, I'm just bowing. So I'm keeping my hips in the same position and I'm just bowing forward with the upper part of my body, allowing me to essentially do this movement with the arm. Before we were doing this movement with a straight arm, we're doing this movement. We're pulling into the pec major, the major part, the bigger part of the chest muscle. In this one, we're just doing the rotation. So we're going into the minor part of the chest, pec minor, okay? So I'll do mine individually like this with about a couple of minutes, minute or two. I would do that both if I could. Otherwise, I'll do like this. You can put your arm behind you, which does allow you to be able to hold a bit more of a squarer position. Some people find it easier. I just hold in front because it also reminds me to keep my abs a little bit tighter. And I focus and look at my shoulder in the mirror to make sure that I'm not rotating, dropping my shoulder, doing any random BS like that. So for me, I just focus on that. I keep an eye on the shoulders, make sure I'm square. And I'm getting that in the stretch and put more in the deeper side or part of the shoulder joint, not across the chest so much. Okay, so I do that a couple of minutes. I'll do the other side. As I said, I'll do those a little bit after. And then the third one is a hang. There's two versions of the hang. There's more than two versions, but I'll be showing you two versions. Actually, I'll show you three versions of the hang, okay? Now, there are grips. Okay, they're not here right now. There are grips you can get that strap onto the wrist and give like an extra sort of flap out here that you can use to either use and to grip over the top of the bar, which will stop the calluses and stuff. If you're one of those princesses that needs to do that, then go for it. Just I say toughen up a little bit, but that's just me. The other version of it is with the grip. You can put the bar in between the grip and then it flips over the bar, and then the pressure of your palm keeps that flap from opening because then you're strapping over the top. I would prefer that version of the grip, but as I said, I don't have the grips here with me. I gave my grips to my buddy Jeremy. I hope you're using those, bro. Otherwise send them back, bro, because I'm about to buy a new one. But there are some here, usually, but they're gone. They've grown legs and gone for a walk. So anyway, I need to get my own anyway. I should have checked that. But anyway, there is that grip that you can use to get started at first, but then I recommend varying off of that and using it the first way where you're just using it to protect yourself. It's kind of like wearing gloves a little bit. The only issue I have with gloves has got nothing to do with being a fairy princess. I'm just joking around with that. That's an old school term about people who wear gloves, but some people do want to keep their hands in slightly better condition. Mine have sort of roughened and toughened up a little bit anyway, so they don't get as affected, but those calluses, those cuts, and those things hurt like a mofo and they stick around for a while. So I completely understand if you do need to wear some gloves. My buddy William in Bangkok will completely agree with this. He is a huge avid fan of the glove. But that would be just essentially the grip is to help you get started. But once you have that sorted out and you're able to hold on, The glove itself, just to go back a little bit for me, the glove itself, it causes more wrinkles inside and pushes into me a bit more. I'm not comfortable with the glove. It's not because of the calluses and the cuts and the tears. It's the comfort of the glove. Maybe it was a long time ago when I quit using gloves. Maybe there's new gloves out there that are better. And if you fit a glove with your hand, fits a glove, then yeah, for sure use it. But for me, what we're looking to do is we're trying to grab onto the bar and essentially just hang. It sounds really silly, but we're just hanging. And the reason for that is we're gonna grip strength. We're gonna work on the grip strength, which is usually one of the bigger issues when it comes to doing pull-ups or chin-ups, is the weakest link in the chain will be where the chain will break. And usually that's grip for most people, okay? In fact, I would dare say it's more than likely the reason why people stop doing chin-ups almost every time is because the grip's about to fail on them. So we practice by just hanging. Now, in this position, I would try and aim for anything from around 30 seconds, then aim for 45-ish, then go for like that minute and a half, then 2 minutes, and aim for about 2 minutes. Now, in this position here, I haven't got my feet off the ground completely. I'm keeping my feet or my toes on the ground without putting all of my weight on the ground. I'm trying to use, let's say, a 20 to 30% assistance with my feet. Okay, so I'm holding, but I'm still working my grips. Now, another thing is I'm showing you guys how to grip the bar this way, okay, around. I don't do it this way, but this is my own weakness. This is why I'm doing these exercises. These are exercises I do on, I would say not a daily basis, but maybe 2 or 3 times a week for sure. I do this exercise, but that's not how I do my chin-ups, okay? Because my chin-ups are on whatever, how many chin-ups I can do, 15, 20, whatever it may be. So I'm going backwards a little bit by retraining my grip, because I've found that at this point now, doing enough chin-ups, I'm starting to get a little bit of that tendonitis in the elbow, and that's a big sign of grip weakness, forearm grip weakness. So I'm going back and retraining my grip strength by doing these exercises, and that's by grabbing the whole bar completely, right? But how I do my chin-ups, if you've ever seen me do chin-ups, is I do them this way, okay? I'm stronger this way, but that doesn't utilize grip strength, that utilizes finger strength. I know the fingers are technically the same thing, but it's almost like it's not really. There's 2 different types of strength. So I can do 20 chin-ups this way, hanging. I can hang my whole body weight like this here for probably a minute or a minute and a half, 2 minutes maybe if I had to, gun to head. But holding and gripping the bar, I'm extremely weak. There's a big discrepancy between those 2 for me. So that's why I'm going backwards and retraining my grip strength this way. Because I think the next progression for me to be able to get higher chin-up numbers, upwards of 20, 30, 40, is to do them this way, because then I need that grip strength to keep me going. Okay, so I'm regressing in that way. I'm admitting my faults, I'm recognizing them within myself, and I'm refocusing my attention to train them, bring that weakness back up. Okay, so about 20% taken off of my body weight with my feet, hanging for a good 30, 45 minute and a half, 2 minutes, depending on what you want to do. Then the next version of that, as I said, there are 3 parts. The next version of that would be to do the chin up grip, which is reversed this way. This will help because this allows you to do a little bit more flexibility. I'm tighter in this position on my right hand than I am on my left hand. I can automatically feel it. So I'll be taking probably about 50% of my weight, or maybe not 50, maybe 40% of my weight with my feet on this, because there is a little bit more pain in there, and I'm going to work on trying to hold 45 seconds to a minute and a half, 2 minutes, whatever it may be. Okay. The next version is twofold, and that is 1 and 1. So 1 over, 1 under. And then obviously after that, the switch. The trick to the switch, to the 1 and 1 is making sure your body stays square. Okay. We don't want to allow it to twist us, which is what it naturally wants to do. And that's why having the feet on the floor can help. Okay. If your feet can't, then, if your feet can't reach the floor, then try and grab something like a mat. Maybe there's some boxes around that allows your feet to touch the floor. You don't want to have too much weight on this, so you want to make sure you get the right height for you. You want to be pushing at least 50, maybe 60% of your own body weight, or holding, I should say, not pushing, but holding at least 60% of your body weight, and then have 40% work its way down to 30, down to 20, down to 10, down to hanging completely. If you are hanging completely, 100% of your weight, 95 to 100% of your weight for your arms holding, and you still are finding yourself twisting or something, then keep that little, whatever it may be, step under there and just reach your toes down. Just point your toes down a little bit. Just realize you're not going to see that, but point your toes down a little bit so that they're just touching the floor. Right, so I was just saying, as the battery ran out, that the grip of your feet reaching down, if you're at the position of being able to hold onto the bar all the way, just your feet hanging down and just lightly touching the floor to stop you from twisting when you're doing those one-and-ones. All right, this is going to be a very useful and effective training tool. Okay, so those are the 3 versions of the hang that I highly recommend, not only for elongating the lats and the shoulders and stretching everything out. Your back will feel a lot more loose as well. Like, there's a lot of benefits to hanging. You can check that out. They say that you're supposed to be able to, or should be able to, hang for 7 minutes. As human beings, we're supposed to be able to hang for 7 minutes. You can look up a guy called Ido Portal who will teach you all about this. I met this guy in Thailand when he was at one of his retreats at the sports complex I used to work at, and he talked to me in a crazy accent, by the way. I think he's Turkish or something like this. But yeah, crazy dude, amazingly physically capable. This guy, if you don't know him, check him out. Trained Conor McGregor one time to start doing all his mobility and flexibility and crazy training stuff, human ability. But yeah, check him out if you want to check out that stuff. And he's got a lot of programs on that kind of stuff, and it's very useful. But I don't have the capability to work and hang myself, hold on to and hang my own body weight for 7 minutes. That's a hell of a task. I might work on that one day, actually, especially for now, starting to do this grip stuff, this grip training. But I've never been able to grip a bar fully and do chin-ups like that. Just never. I've always been a finger gripper like this. And this has come from way too many years of playing basketball and dunking. I was a dunker. Well, I wasn't a dunker, but I enjoyed dunking. And if you tried to grab the rim all the way like that, you'd rip your whole hand apart on the ribs. So for me, jumping up, dunking, and holding onto the rim a little bit came from fingers. And so I became fairly strong with just my finger grip like that, and just kept it going when it comes to chin-ups and stuff. So that's where that comes from for me personally, but waste of fucking time talking about this. So what I'll do is I'll pause this video now, and I'm going to go do those exact stretches for about 1 minute to 2 minutes each, depending on which one. So it's going to take me about 8, 9, maybe 10 minutes or something, and then I'll come back and talk you guys through the actual chin-up technique, the actual technical side of the chin-up once more. I think I've done it once before, but we'll go through a bit more detail today. So see you guys in a sec. Yeah, so now I'm going to walk you through the general basic, very simple guideline steps to doing a chin-up. The chin-up and a pull-up. The difference between a chin-up and a pull-up is essentially just the grip as far as what we're concerned with. There will be a difference in how the muscles are used and what it does and blah, blah, blah. That's too technical for now. We don't really mind about that. So if you hear me ever refer to a chin-up, I'm probably meaning pull-up, because I'm a bigger fan of pull-ups than I am of chin-ups. Chin-ups are technically a little easier to perform. So if you are a beginner, then start with chin-ups. And the difference is chin-ups is this grip, okay? That supinated grip I talked about. Yeah, this is that supinated grip. So this is a chin-up. And you'll see in that chin-up, I'm trying to get my chest to the bar. A lot of people get their chin to the bar. Probably a whole bunch of people don't even get their chins to the bar. But it's not a chin. I guess technically it started being called a chin up because it's supposed to get your chin to the bar. Okay, maybe. But what you're trying to do is, oh, excuse me, drank some cold water, and cold seems to be giving me a bit of a cough right now. But what you're trying to do is you're trying to get your chest to the bar, because once you get the chin to the bar, there's a certain set of muscles. But that last part, that's the bit that most people miss out on. That last sort of 10-15% of the movement. Same if you're doing a pull-up. It's getting your chin to the bar, but you want that last part, right? That last little 15% there, bang. That's a really important part of the chin-up movement, but it's also really more in a bigger dynamic way of looking at it. It's more important on the musculature. So you want to utilize all the muscle that you can in the movement, and you want them all to be as equally as possible challenged, so that they can all grow and together as a whole become stronger. As I said before, the weakest link of the chain is what will be the bigger damage, what will be the reason why you can't perform that exercise anymore. So if you're training yourself to be as strong as you can through here, and then you leave that little part out, this is always going to be that chink in the chain for you, right? And as you're doing all those exercises and all those reps and all those sets and all those workouts and all those weeks and months, as you're doing more and more and more of those and leaving that last little 10, 15% out, I guarantee you that little part will come back to bite you in the butt somewhere along the line, right? Maybe not necessarily in the chin up itself, maybe in a pull-up variation, maybe in a workout that's got something else to do with something else. But essentially, it will always come back to bite you in the butt, okay? So I recommend if you're learning and you're starting from the beginning, start from the beginning properly. Drop the ego. Don't let Mike on your shoulder talk you into some crazy drama. This is one of those times where when it comes to the technique side of things, when I'm using these things to protect my own body, to be able to perform more and more consistently for A, myself, and B, for you guys, I will not listen to Mike in these positions. Mike will beat me sometimes. For those of you who don't know, Mike is the little guy on my shoulder that tells me to do more, that calls me a pussy and calls me out for being a freaking rat. I like that guy. We challenge each other, but I end up doing more work, harder and longer with Mike on my shoulder. He's on my team. He attacks me and stabs me a little bit, which I enjoy. So in this instance, as I was saying, these type of things, I don't allow Mike to come in and beat me in these. So Mike is completely silent. He has a freaking gag in his mouth and he's sitting in the corner as far as I'm concerned. There's zero chance of me trying to do anything that my body is unable to do when it comes to this type of stuff. So back to the original point. Gabe, you talk too much. Pull in those last 10, 15%. Try to get the chest to the bar. If you need to, grab a band. There isn't a band available here, but there is a skipping rope. Not that I can use a skipping rope, but I can explain to you that if you just grab this, put it over the top, and imagine obviously that this is a closed loop at the bottom, okay? And you just essentially have this hanging and you put your foot through it, okay? Just one. Don't put both feet through it, you'll end up being stuck. It's entertaining, but I don't recommend it. So essentially just using, there are different colored bands split around the gym that will help you depending on how much percentage of your weight you want the band to take. There are obviously going to be some stronger than some. So use whatever band strength you need. Put one foot in and then cross the other one in front of it. Keep the legs straight, dead straight, okay? That way, when it's time, that leg crossing over the top stops the band in case it flicks. You don't want it to flick up in front of you. Not necessarily going to hit you in the face, but if it does, it kind of sucks. But if it flicks behind you, then it's fine. You'll be fine. Just hit your butt. Doesn't even hurt. But you use that cross leg to hold onto that. And when it's time to come out, uncross your leg and then bend your knee. Okay. And at that point, your other leg can sit on one of the little stands or something, or on a little side stool you've got on the side. Take the weight off your leg and then just pop it off. But anyway, using that band to help you be able to hold on a little bit more when you're doing your chin ups so that you can fully get your chest to the bar. Okay. So think of it as a chest up, not a chin up, right? It's a full pull up, not just a partial pull up, okay? The name pull up, the name chin up, okay, cool. But what we're trying to do here is trying to be a little bit better than the average. We're trying to get a little bit better results than the average. So we're going to do a little bit more than average. So just getting your chin to the bar is the average. So let's do a little bit more. Let's go for the chest. You'll see that sometimes these are in, if you watch CrossFit games, which I think is amazing, they have a limit where they say the chest and the chin. So the bar must come somewhere in between the two. And you'll see that at the beginning while the athletes are still fresh, they're mostly putting their chests on the bar. They're getting their chest to the bar. Because that's actually how they rehearse, that's how they practice. That's the minimum requirement in most training facilities when it comes to chin-ups. But then as they fatigue, obviously that raises it a little higher. So it's accepted up to the chin, but they are all trying to aim for that chest. They don't need to, but that's just where the repetitions lie when it comes to that, because that's how they practice it. So practice makes perfect. So in that, let's try and get our chest to the bar, okay? It may be harder for you and you may not be able to do as many, but that's cool. That's completely cool. Because if you absolutely need to just get your chin to the bar, you'll be able to do more reps, but you're at least putting in the effort and working that last 10, 15%, or less 10, 15 degrees, whatever it may be, that last part of getting the chest to the bar. Once you've got your chest to the bar, X amount of reps, and you find yourself not being strong enough to be able to finish and complete that last part, Then if you want to keep working and getting a few that are not quite as hard, that's fine. That's over-exhausting, that's working it, that's pushing it. I'm okay with that most of the time. But what I'm saying is you don't want to just, for the sake of doing reps that are 10 or whatever, and just sit in those little sweet spot. What you'll also find is the hang at the bottom. When people get to the bottom, they don't fully lock out their elbow. So they just do this kind of thing, right? You want to make sure that you're getting all the way locked out straight at the bottom each time, okay? That engages the muscles that you need to engage from the bottom to do their part at the beginning when you start pulling, right? You need to have it all working at once. You need all those all those muscles to have the same amount of weight on them. So hanging all the way down, allowing your shoulders to sort of slide up. The scapula, the shoulder blades, they do a bit of retraction and protraction, but they're also involved in the winging section when it comes to allowing your elbows to reach, your shoulders to reach all the way up. Just remember though, that when you do the pull up or the chin up, it's a pull up grip for now, so I'm gonna call it a pull up, but it works for both. When you're doing that, make sure you retract those shoulders back down before you start your pull-up, okay? I have stronger bicep in the, in the grouping of the muscles that are being used in a pull-up. My bicep is the dominant one, it's stronger. So it helps out some of the other muscles. Now that's not a good thing, technically speaking. It's a good thing if I'm just trying to rep out and get a whole bunch of chin-ups, because it means I can get some chin-ups out. But it's a bad thing when it comes to the bicep doing more work for, say, the grip and maybe, say, serratus anterior or any of the shoulder rotator cuff muscles or something like that, the smaller muscles that are maybe weaker. So what we want is we want to make sure that we're all the way straight at the bottom, let our whole body weight hang, then coming all the way up by pulling the shoulders first and then getting the chin to the bone. I'll do a set of 5 just to show you guys what I'm talking about. Hang, chest, hang, chest, hang, chest, hang, chest, hang, chest, and hang. Now, it's a little awkward for me because I have to bend my knees and swing kinda a little bit in order to avoid my feet hitting the floor. That's just because of my height, I guess. There were some monkey bars in a gym previously I used to train at that were at a height where I had to jump to grab. Those were amazing, especially for the hanging exercises. So it's kind of like I'm putting myself back into what it would be like for the majority of you guys, possibly, by being able to just hang and not touch the floor. So don't really follow suit as far as what I do with my feet and where I hang my legs. Don't worry about that too much. That's just me being a little extra too tall. But essentially, core is on, the muscles are on nice and tight. Just tense up a little bit. Hold on as if you're going to take a punch, right? So just tense up a little bit, just enough to take a punch, but not so much that you can't breathe normally, okay? And then once you've got that, I personally flick my feet behind me just to be able to hang so that my feet don't hit the ground. And that's all there is to it. I've talked about before making a C with your back, arching your back. And that's more to contract the butt, contract the low back, contract all the muscles in behind the shoulder girdle area, and making sure that the chest sticks up so that you can get the bar to the chest and keeping your abs nice and tight, just strong enough to take a punch. Okay, there's a bunch of little points there, but essentially they're pretty simple. All right, work on one, think of adding the next one once you got that one, add the next one once you got that, add the next one when you got that, add the next one when you got that, and all of a sudden you got 5 or 6 points just like that. It's not hard, it takes a little bit of repetition and practice like anything else. So chin up, pull up, okay, and then chin up. When it comes to the chin up, the wide grip on a chin up ain't gonna work. It's just gonna bust you up. So a chin up is a little bit more narrow. It's almost the width of your shoulders more than anything, all right? Whereas a pull up is taking the position of the thumb and rotating that out. So the thumb would be just outside the grip, the width of the shoulders, whereas the whole hand would be inside the width of the shoulders in a chin up. Chin up, pull up. It's not pull up and it's not chin up, okay? It's pull up and then using this, chin up. You can go wider too with the chin up, but This, at the very least, this is the narrowest you'll go with a chin-up. This is the thumbs, the width of the shoulders. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to do a little bit of a workout with the chin-ups. It's nothing fancy. I'm just going to work my way from 10 down to 1, so 10 sets. Instead of 10, instead of 9, instead of 8, instead of 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which equals about 55. Nothing fancy, bit boring, I know, but it's kind of what I want to do now. So I'm not going to put you guys through the paces of watching that. That's terrible. It's annoying. I'll be taking small breaks in between each one, so there won't be much of an entertaining sort of watch for you anyway. I appreciate you guys being with me for this. I hope this, a little bit more of a technical session, helps out with the very most basics of the dip and the pull-up. The pull-up / chin-up variation can be done, as I mentioned earlier, in an EMOM as far as working out and getting stronger. Start with 1 on the minute, every minute. At 0, 0, have a running clock. At 0, 0, do 1. Next 0, 0, another 1. Do maybe 5, 6, 7, 8 times. Do that a little bit, then work on putting a little bit more minutes. Add a couple of minutes the next round, as in the next session or the next week, and then add a couple more rounds again. Then once you got that, go back to the beginning as far as the time is concerned, 5 or 6 or whatever, but add an extra rep, so go to 2, possibly 3 at this point. Then work on that. That's what you want to work on when it comes to that. Take your time, be patient. You'll be very surprised how quickly you'll be able to do this. Chin-ups are a natural movement. It's something I think most people should be able to do. Work your way through them. Take your time. If you can look back at 6 months worth of training to be able to do 10 chin-ups, that's nothing. If you look forward, it's like, dude, 6 months, really? Just to be able to do 10? Shit, bro. Once you can start to do 10, you can do anything else from there. So what I'm saying is take your time, be patient. Like anything else, good things take time, especially when it comes to self-development physically, because your body needs the time to recover in order to be able to perform again, and it needs that progressive overload, but progressively overloading the muscles a little bit by a little bit each time, each week, each month. Otherwise, it just reverts back to its natural lazy state. The mind wants to reserve and keep energy, and so it won't give the energy to the muscles, and the muscles don't want to really be torn apart because it takes energy to repair them. So there's kind of like this double negative that's going against you. But we are the masters of our minds, as I explained earlier in the session. So we tell our minds, this is what I like to do, this is who I am, this is what I will do. That's it. There's no explanation. Oh, I don't feel like it today. Dude, I don't feel like brushing my teeth some days, but you know what? I still brush my teeth, all right? That's just what it is. I work out, I train, I stay physically active as much as I possibly can. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it, okay? There are times where I am sick and I take those times off, but that is it. Apart from that, I am the guy that's in the gym every day. I'm not training and doing push-ups and pull-ups and, you know, using the machines and the barbells and the dumbbells. I'm over there sweating buckets on the cardio machine, right? And for me, the cardio is either the reverse walking on that treadmill with the treadmill off, or on the Stairmaster. Those are the only 2 parts of the cardio machinery. I have walked sometimes forward on a treadmill with the treadmill on. Maybe twice in the last year I've done that, but 3 times maybe. It's just one of those things. Sometimes I just feel like going for a walk, you know, just gather my thoughts or listen to some podcast or something like that. It's either that or do nothing. So I'd rather go walking if I'm going to walk normally outdoors than on a treadmill. But I will use the treadmill to reverse walk. So that is essentially it. A lot of mumbling, I'm sure, in this one. I heard myself mumble a few times. So I'm going to try and get the video edited and out to you guys as soon as possible, probably by about 6 a.m. tomorrow morning, if all things go according to plan. But otherwise, I'm going to sign out on this one. I'm going to finish my workout and then head out and do what I got to do for the day. Happy Sunday. Thank you again for listening, for watching. If you're watching all the way through, I hope this helps. And see you guys, I guess, on the next one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff. It is the same name on this, on all the other, the TikTok, the YouTube, the Instagram. They're all the same name. I think even on Twitter. I don't use Twitter much, but everything is on there. I appreciate any support, any following. It is a long journey. I am in it for the long run. I am not going anywhere. This is what I do now. This is part of who I am now, and this is just what I do. So I appreciate you guys' support. Say hello to everybody who is consistently watching, family and friends out there. I appreciate you guys listening. Appreciate all the love and the support. Keep sharing, keep growing. Let's just go here and see what happens. Let's do this together as a group. And look, I will take all the criticism I can get. So throw all the BS at me. Throw it. I'm working on it. I'm trying to figure it out. Tips and tricks. I appreciate there's nothing that I won't take as constructive criticism, and it's all very much welcome. You're too shy to do it in the comments? Fine. Just send me a DM. I'm happy to take on any criticism. I want this to be something that I do and share it and about you guys. So if it is a way, a direction, a topic, or a variation that you are looking for or that you want more, let me know. You know, whether it goes in the bucket of things to add to, or whether it goes in the bucket of I'm not so sure that's how I would roll, that's fine. I'll take it all on the chin, and I will greatly appreciate your help with that. So, peace. Bye. That hurt.